welcome to Firstpost Gameplan. We are joined today by Rohan Gavaskar to discuss all the Premier League action live. Hi Rohan.
Hi Zenia, how's it going?
Good. Welcome to the show. Rohan is in Delhi, but he's of course very excited about the Premier League. So how could we not have the show?
Absolutely, I'm here covering the Duleep Trophy, but football's my first love, and it's been quite a weekend of football. Real interesting games and lots to discuss.
Absolutely. To start up, I think the top three, so to say, Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, have maintained their impressive starts. They have won their games and in quite emphatic manner, especially if you consider Sterling and Guardiola. They've had the pep talk, so to say, has really worked for City.
Well, look, absolutely. Look, all three teams that you mentioned, they've maintained their 100% record, 9 points out of 9. You mentioned Pep Guardiola and Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling now looks like that 50 million player. That's the kind of money that Manchester City paid to buy him from Liverpool. Last year, he had a really wishy-washy season, but this year, so far, I know the season's in its infancy, but so far, he's looked top dollar. He's looked a new player under Pep Guardiola's influence and tactics. And look, City fans will be enthused by that because you see someone, a young English player. Let's not forget, he's young. He's 20. Lot of potential harnessed now. So good signs for City.
Right, and you were talking about young players. So another young player that really impressed me, and I am sure you, is Rashford for United against Hull. That was looking like a game that might actually not go United's way, and then you had Rashford with that stunning goal.
Well, this for me was the United of old, right, where you've got Hull defending for their lives, United attacking, lots of chances being created, but somehow hadn't scored till then. But as a United fan, you had the feeling that that goal was going to come. Now that feeling was missing for the last 3 years, but this year suddenly you had that feeling like, listen, with the kind of attack, with the kind of pressure that's been exerted on Hull, that goal's going to come. And Rashford, look, long may he continue. Again, another young, exciting talent. There's been talk about how will Mourinho treat Rashford. Will he flourish under Mourinho, or will he not really get the opportunities under Mourinho? There was also a little bit of talk because he was dropped from the England proper squad into the under-21s. But look, I think this is the right way forward for Rashford because he will learn so much. You've got top quality players at Manchester United, and now you've got someone like Zlatan. You've got someone like Wayne Rooney, and these are players that you want to learn from as a striker. I think Rashford's career is on the rise. I heard Jamie Redknapp say he's like a juggernaut. Whatever he's doing right now turns to gold. And again, long may that continue as a United fan because he's someone who all United fans are excited about because he's got the ability to change the game. He's got that pace, he's got that skill. He's not going to take on defenders. He'll dribble, he'll take shots, and that's what you want from a striker. So fantastic potential, fantastic prospect, and I get the feeling that he's in the right team, right environment to really develop and fulfill that potential.
Right, I'd like to tell our viewers that we're live on Facebook, and if you have any questions about the Premier League for Rohan, please do send it in the comments. You can also tweet to us at Firstpost Sport. But Rohan, we were talking about exciting talents, and I think the standout performance, at least in the Fantasy Premier League and for the Premier League, was Eden Hazard. He has found his club form back, so to say, and another scintillating display from Hazard.
Well, he's looking like the player that won the PFA award. He was, the player of the year. Last season, he had a very average season. But what's really happened is that Conte has now got Matic and N'Golo Kante to sit tight and sit back and play the defensive midfielders. That's given Hazard the freedom of the park. It's removed the shackles from him. He's got that ability, that extra ability to change the game. He can do something magical, something which only geniuses can do, and he's back, and it looks like he's really enjoying his football. He's got a smile on his face, he's taking on defenders, he's dribbling, he's taking shots, and again in the last game he was outstanding. Scored one, could have scored another couple in my opinion. But you're right, Hazard again is a joy to watch, and if you're a Chelsea fan, you'll be happy to see that Eden's back doing what he does best.
Right. And in fact, we've discussed a lot about how these three managers, Conte, Guardiola and Mourinho, would sort of be at the center of the Premier League action. And so far, from what we've seen, they've really kind of managed to stay true to their expectations. So far, I say. But really, if you talk about visual football as well, these three have been giving it all.
Well, I mean, there have been goals scored. I mean, we saw, you talk about Manchester City. They've been scoring goals for fun so far. United, injury time goal in the last game against Hull, but they've been scoring goals in the first two games. Chelsea, look, the Chelsea defense was a little leaky. They've had to come back in the first two games, but they've managed to pull out victories in the first two in the standing. I mean, they could have won by a bigger margin. It seemed that Conte is getting his message across to the players. They're playing really well. There's a little bit coming in, and believe you me, I think Conte will sort that defense out. He's known as a defensive magician. He will get his players defensively sorted, defensively organized, and they will be a tough team to beat.
Teams performing like the champions that they are. However, the defending champions Leicester, they have managed their first win, so to say. They've defeated Swansea. However, Rohan, there has been a lot of talk about how Leicester slightly got the shorter end of the stick. How they've got a difficult draw playing Arsenal so early and Liverpool next. Now, last year, the year they were champions, they had a relatively faster start on the points table, which is what sort of gave them the momentum. This year, that seems to be lacking. What's your take on that?
Well, I think the draw. I don't think the draw is that, to be honest, simply because right now, if you look at the points table, they drew against Arsenal and they won against Swansea, and they lost against Hull.
Right.
Now you expect the champions to beat Hull. If they'd beaten Hull, they would have had 7 points out of 9, and that's a pretty good start. Now, all due respect to Liverpool, historically they're a much bigger club than Leicester, but at the moment Leicester are champions. You can't take them lightly. They've managed to retain the core of their team. They've added some really good players in the way that he wants them to. It's his team. Liverpool have been erratic. They've not been consistent. Their defense looks a little leaky. Moreno at left back looks leaky, very dodgy. What's really going for Liverpool is that they are attacking really well. Mane was again excellent. Sturridge isn't getting a game at the moment. But next game, I think, between Leicester and Liverpool, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game because both these teams like to score goals. Leicester play on the counter-attack. Liverpool with their high-pressing game. There was a stat which I read that Liverpool again in the last game covered more than 70 miles as a team, and that is what Jurgen Klopp wants them to do. He wants them to run, he wants them to press, he wants them to harry the opposition, and he's getting his players to do that. So I think the next game, Leicester versus Liverpool, it's going to be an absolute cracker.
Right, we're all looking forward to that game, but to kind of finish our wrap up on the big contenders playing the previous game, we had Arsenal race to another start with Sanchez starring for them, and we also had Liverpool and Spurs ending up in a draw. Now, while you predict a goal fest, it wasn't quite so to say in their previous game.
It wasn't. I mean, I actually thought Liverpool and Spurs. I mean, in that game, if you talk about Liverpool and Spurs, Liverpool will be disappointed that they didn't come away with a victory. But if you had told them you'd get a point at White Hart Lane before the game started, they said, yeah, we'll take a point. But at the end of the game, they'd be a little disappointed because I thought they really, really played well. Unfortunately, it didn't come away with all 3 points. But look, the way they're playing, you feel that there are goals in that team, in the Liverpool team. The way Leicester play, you've got Vardy off the mark in the last game. So you think Vardy's going to go on a bit of a run. I just get the feeling that the Liverpool-Leicester game will have some goals. When I say goals, there'll be actually, in my opinion, I think there'll be at least 3 goals in the game.
Look forward to discussing this after the game.
I know, and in case they don't get 3 goals, I know you're going to catch me on that.
No. In case they do get more, well, it'll be fun to discuss either way. But yeah, this is something we'll remember for the next game.
No, absolutely.
Right. But that was the week that goes by, and before we have another weekend of action coming up, today and tomorrow are very important days, the transfer deadline day, and this is always the most exciting time, also the most rumor-filled time all over football news channels. I remember like rumors of everybody going everywhere. However, this time we have a few confirmed transfers before the window shuts tomorrow. Let's discuss it a little more in detail. To start off, Arsenal were always the most talked about team, I think, during the transfer deadline window. Mustafi and Perez are on their radar, and that will definitely, sort of bolster the team ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Arsene Wenger's come out and said that deals are 99% done. Only a little bit of paperwork's remaining. I think Mustafi will be a great addition to the Arsenal defense. He said he was convinced by Ozil to
Right.
come and join Arsenal. I think Perez will also be a really good addition. I think these are good buys. There's been some talk, are they panic buys from Arsenal? I don't think they're panic buys. I think they're really good buys. I think they will really do well. And like you said, they will strengthen the Arsenal team. Though, when you talk about Arsenal, there's rumours of Jack Wilshere now going on loan. Now, that is surprising because Jack Wilshere is Arsenal through and through. But it might be the right decision because he's fallen down the pecking order. Is he going to get a game at the moment? I don't think so because you've just signed Xhaka for 30 million. You're going to play him. Cazorla is there, Ozil's there, Sanchez is there. So maybe for Jack Wilshere's development, it's better for him that he goes on loan, and there is some talk of Jack Wilshere going on loan. I don't think Arsenal will send him on loan to one of his direct competitors, the top 4, top 5 teams, but you might see him at maybe an Everton or a Southampton. We don't know, but I think Jack Wilshere will probably go on loan.
Right. That is one thing. And we did speak about Chelsea and their sort of quest for defense. You said the defense, will bolster. Who do you think they should pick? I mean, they really need a better defense, wouldn't you say?
Well, I hope they don't pick anyone. As a team that's competing with Manchester United at the moment, right up there, 3 wins out of 3. I hope they don't pick anyone. I hope the defenders, John Terry, he's 35, Ivanovic is 30 plus, Gary Cahill, he's no spring chicken. I hope a couple of them get injuries and the defense is in tatters. But I just feel that Conte will sort his defense out. He's known to sort his defense out in whichever team that he's managed. I think Chelsea will be fine. I think Chelsea will get their defense sorted out. I don't think they will worry too much about defense. I think they'll worry about how they're going to score goals more than actually defend.
Right. And speaking of Chelsea, we have a question coming in on Facebook. Alex Korean has asked, what's your take on Fabregas not getting enough time? Now, I'll just tell our viewers about how Fabregas has posted on Instagram his photo with the Premier League trophy, saying he's very happy where he is currently and has no plans to move. However, Conte's decision so far hasn't really reflected that. Rohan, your take?
Well, it's true. I mean, Fabregas has said that he wants to fight for his place. We did see that, when he did come on in the previous game, he played a magic pass for Diego Costa to score the winner. He came and changed the game around. I think Fabregas is a quality player. I think he's got class. He's come to Chelsea to win. He won the Premier League with Chelsea. I think he will stay and fight. I don't think he's going to leave. I think he'll be an important player for Chelsea. He might be a squad player. There'll be games that he'll have to come on and play. There will be games that he starts. I don't think he'll leave. I think he's going to be a really important player for Chelsea in this coming season.
And Alex, there you go. You have your answer. Yeah, Fabregas does seem to kind of player who will stay on, and since he's come to the Premier League for trophies, hopefully he manages one. Well, that's it, Chelsea. That is said for all Chelsea fans. I'm sure Rohan and I don't quite agree. But
well, look, he's already got one. He's already got one.
Yes.
I hope he's happy with that. Yeah.
Right. And back to our transfer talk. I think after Arsenal, another big talk going around is Zaha to Spurs. From the match against Liverpool, it did seem that they need a shot in the arm, and Zaha could just be that.
But I don't think Crystal Palace will sell him. Simple as that. It's too late in the transfer window, and Spurs have made a ludicrous offer. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. They've offered 12.5 million or 15 million. You've sold Andros Townsend for that amount, and then you're expecting, if you think Zaha's an upgrade, if you have a player like Andros Townsend who does pretty much what Zaha does, and if you sell him and then you want to buy Zaha, then you think Zaha is obviously an upgrade. And then, if you're going to pay the same amount of money as what you sold Townsend for, there's no way Crystal Palace are going to sell him. Crystal Palace have already sold Yannick Bolasie to Everton. So where transfer deal will go through unless Tottenham Hotspurs pay a much bigger amount for Zaha.
And well, there's a very short window for that, so that's something to look forward to. Speaking of, certain very strange transfers, we have Joe Hart going to Torino. Now, a lot of people on social media especially are talking about how, from Manchester City you moved to Torino, and that does seem not like a downgrade. In fact, there were talks of him going to Sunderland and Everton on loan, which would again have been a bit of a come down for him, but Torino, completely unexpected.
Unexpected, but look, if I was Joe Hart, I wouldn't see it as a downgrade. I'd see it as an opportunity to play City, he wouldn't even be the number 2 goalkeeper. He was the number 3 goalkeeper, really low in the pecking order. And someone like Joe Hart, if he wants to play for England, he's got to be playing 90 minutes every week. It's a lone move. It's come late in the transfer window, so I think it doesn't really matter which club you're going for as long as you play. At the end of this year, or maybe from the next transfer window, in the winter transfer window, they can then take another call whether he wants to make. But I think this year will be on loan, and in the next transfer window, they'll probably come to some sort of agreement, some sort of conclusion as to where Joe Hart should be, whether he'll make a permanent move to another club. I actually think it's a good move for him to be able to play 90 minutes of football every week.
Right, that's one take on it. But Rohan, now tell me, with that clock ticking, so to say, what are the transfers you're looking to, and what are some of those transfer window rumors that you believe could actually be true?
Well, there have been a lot of rumors, Xenia, and I'll tell you what, every year I hear a rumor as a United fan of Ronaldo coming back, of Gareth Bale coming. I've learned not to believe any of these rumors, especially on the last day, because it's a transfer frenzy, rumor frenzy. People are going crazy. I mean, they're talking about my cousin's friend's uncle who's at Manchester airport saw so and so come into the airport. Absolute bullshit. But you know what? It's fun. It's what gets football fans on their toes. Gets them talking about, gossiping. But I don't believe in any of these rumors until I see that player holding a scarf of the club, saying, this is the club that I've signed for, or the team jersey. I don't believe any rumors.
Like you said, deadline day is fun, especially on social media.
It's a lot of fun.
People go crazy with Photoshop and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. I mean, for football fans, it's that one day where you want your club to sign someone. You're wondering who they'll sign, who they'll sell. There'll be a lot of players who will leave clubs, like Joe Hart. He'll be leaving Manchester City. There'll be players coming in. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's exciting times. But I think it'll be a lot of clubs like Arsenal. Arsenal will be hoping to tie up the deal with Mustafi and Perez today. Like Arsene Wenger said, 99% complete, but not 100% complete. And we do know that at times, unless it's signed at the right time, these deals can fall through. David De Gea nearly went to Real Madrid, except for a dodgy fax machine at Manchester United. God bless that dodgy fax machine, I tell you. Talk that he stayed for a year and he might leave this year, but he hasn't. He's still at United. He said he's happy to be at United. So sometimes these deals fall through at the last minute. So Arsene Wenger will be hoping that he gets those 2 deals signed.
Right, not just Arsene Wenger, all the Gunners are hoping for these deals to get signed. But from the deadline day to another thing that really gets football fans excited, the Fantasy Premier League. Rohan, where do you stand on after your last week's picks?
Well, I had an awful week, an absolutely terrible week. But I'll tell you, I've got a few picks for the coming week. It's a little early because there's the international break and players might get injured. But I think the players to look out for will be players from Arsenal. If you can get Sanchez in, or if you can get Ozil in, if you've got the kind of funds to get those 2 players in, I think that will be a good pick. The other pick I think will be Sadio Mane for Liverpool versus Leicester, because like I said, I think that's going to be a goal fest. I think there'll be goals in that game, and I'd pick Sadio Mane for Liverpool. In the fantasy league, he's a midfielder, but he's playing as a striker. He's playing right up there. He's the one to get you goals. So I'd have a look at Sadio Mane. The other players I'd look for is Holgate. Everton are playing Sunderland. Sunderland haven't really been convinced. I think Holgate at 4.5 is a really good cheap pick for a big club like Everton. They're defensively generally pretty strong. They've got a manager in Ronald Koeman who's sort of organizing them. So I think he might be a tricky good pick as well.
Right. So those are the players to watch out for. And last week, if you had Hazard or Sterling, well then I'm sure you're a very happy fantasy league camper. But with that to look forward to, I think it's time to say goodbye to Rohan. And for all our viewers and all the people who sent in questions, thank you so much. Keep tuning in for Firstpost Gameplan with Rohan Gavaskar.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.